Is every human being born with a purpose to fulfill? Yes. Or are we born to lead a regular life with a family to live and to die? Yes. The two are not mutually exclusive. And this is really the problem when we conceive of spirituality. Is that somehow, and particularly when we think about our purpose in life, it's a topic that comes up a lot because these days, this was not true when your grandparents were your age. In many cases, it wasn't even true when your parents were your age. They grew up, they got educated, maybe they got a job, maybe they didn't get a job and got married. But in any case, if you conducted an interview of your grandparents or your great-grandparents, or as I said, in some cases, even your parents, and you said, did you ever struggle with what your purpose on this earth was? Very few of them would say yes. Very few. Doesn't mean things were easy. It doesn't mean they didn't struggle with their husband or wife. It doesn't mean they didn't struggle with their kids. It doesn't mean they didn't struggle with their health or to make ends meet. But this idea that somehow we have a purpose, and our purpose is this elusive thing that somehow is separate from the breath we take, separate from the love we give, separate from how we move through our days, that somehow there's my life and then there's my purpose. And this is actually what I think is causing a lot of turmoil for a lot of people these days, because our purpose is to be who we are. And who we are is divine, sacred, holy consciousness. I mean, that's what we are. We're not the body, as we talk about in here all the time. We're not the emotions. We're the soul, we're the consciousness, we're love. So our purpose is to recognize that. We can recognize who we are in the role of a banker. We can recognize who we are in the role of a policeman or a fireman. We can recognize who we are in the role of a school teacher. We can recognize who we are in the role of a housewife or a homemaker. There's nothing that says your purpose is your career. And this is where we've ended up really having the confusion. Our purpose is to live as consciousness. Our purpose is to live as love, to live as souls, to live as spirit. Whatever job we're doing, we can use it to fulfill that role, to fulfill that dharma, to fulfill that purpose. Born and die, it happens to all of us. Whether you discover your purpose or you don't discover your purpose. Whether you live as a body and your emotions and your relationships, or whether you live as love and consciousness. We're all born, we're all going to die. We all have a family. Whether we actually get married and have children of our own, or whether we just have the family that we came into. So those three aspects, born, family, die, true for everyone. The only question is whether through that born, family, die, do we also discover something else? And this is where my favorite story on this comes in. True story, I've got a background in psychology. And so I love the studies and the experiments and all of the psychological tests that they did that teach us so much about human nature. And my favorite one is the test where they take a group of subjects who are students and they divide them and put them down to watch a basketball game, a video of a basketball game, a 6-minute video. And they're told that their job in watching this video is to count baskets. How many baskets does the red team make? How many baskets does the white team make? And at the end, they've got a piece of paper with 3 questions. Number 1, how many baskets did the red team make? They all get it right. It's very easy. Number 2, how many baskets did the white team make? Also very easy. Everybody was watching. It was only a 6-minute game. They all counted the baskets perfectly. Third question was, did you notice anything else? More than 50% of them said no. They got the baskets right. How many red team, how many white team? Didn't notice anything else. Turns out, halfway through the game, into the center of the court, an enormous gorilla had come. Straight onto the court, occupied the entire camera frame, and had proceeded to dance for 30 seconds. Now, in a 6-minute game, 30 seconds is a really long time. Here's why I love this so much. I love it because it's the story of our lives. Why did more than 50% of intelligent, aware, focused subjects, I mean, they all got the baskets right. They had their eyes open. Nobody had fallen asleep. Nobody had gotten distracted. How could they be properly counting baskets and miss the dancing gorilla? And the answer is what happens in our lives. It's not what they were told to look for. It's really as simple as that. If in the beginning the experimenters had said, count the baskets of the red team, count the baskets of the white team, and make sure you don't miss the gorilla dancing in the middle of the court, no one would miss it. But that was actually the whole experiment. The experiment had nothing to do with counting baskets and everything to do with whether they noticed the gorilla. So what happens is we're given a task, we're given a job, and we do it. And we do it well. And like they were told to count baskets, in our lives what we're told is, get a good education, get a job, have a family, make money. This is your job. And we do it. We do it well. And then we get to the point in our life, for many of us, sadly, it's not until the end of our life, but more and more, thankfully, people are coming around earlier and earlier, and the fact that you're here in Rishikesh, in satsang, means you're already there. You're asking, is there anything else? Okay, I've done what I was told. I've counted the metaphoric baskets. But have I missed anything? Did I miss the dancing gorilla? Did I miss the most obvious thing? Did I miss the point of it all? And sadly, most of us do. And the point of it all is that purpose. Do not think that your purpose is being the head of some company or doing this or doing that. May happen. Companies have to be headed by someone. Things have to be invented by someone. Someone's got to be president. Someone's got to be prime minister. But when we really talk about our dharma, when we talk about our purpose, it's not about you are supposed to be this extraordinary being. You are supposed to do something that no one has ever done before. Invent something, create something, do something, write something, be someone. That's what we're all being indoctrinated into believing, that purpose is equivalent with something that is extraordinary. Most people don't want to believe that their purpose might just be to be born, to have a family, or to be part of a family, whether a blood family or we say Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world is a family. So to be part of that world family with love, with consciousness, with giving, with taking care. For the vast majority of us, that is our purpose. Our purpose is to fulfill our role. And it's not higher or lower, it's not better or worse, it's not that the lucky ones end up as prime minister or president or, Miss Universe, and the rest of us just get stuck with the rest. Puja Swamiji tells actually a great story about that. Many, 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 many years ago, even before I knew him, he was at an event in Hollywood, a birthday party of a woman who had actually just been crowned as Miss Universe. And it was one of those really big Hollywood sort of who's who events. And the people he was staying with in Los Angeles were in the movie industry, and the party was at their house. So he's staying at the house. Now they've got this party at the house. Miss Universe is at the house. So he gives a satsang. And after the satsang, Miss Universe says to him, I really want to talk to Swamiji. Can I have a few minutes with Swamiji? And so he says yes, and the host brings her up, and she speaks to him just about how to connect with God and find a deeper meaning, a deeper purpose in her life. Recognizing how shallow the whole Miss Universe thing was. A few minutes later, her husband comes in and says, I've got to have a few minutes with Swamiji. And he says, okay, sit down. And the husband just starts complaining about the wife. He says to Swamiji, I don't know anything, they were Americans, not Indians. He says, I don't know anything about this karma theory. He said, but what I know is I must have done something really bad in my past life in order to end up stuck with this lady in this life. And Swamiji was amazed. He said, you just married Miss Universe, literally. Your marriage was broadcast on, international television. Everyone in the world, all the men must have been thinking, why not me? And this guy looks at Swamiji and he says, she's not Miss Universe, she's Mess Universe. And I've heard Puja Swamiji tell this story for so many years now, and I love it because when we think about purpose, or you think about achievement, certainly becoming Miss Universe is right up there on the list of things that most of us think would be really fun to become, or Mr. Universe. But here you are in a situation where Miss Universe's own husband is cursing his karma for having made him stuck with this lady. So our purpose, our dharma, It's not about what title do I get. It's about how am I living? And what am I spreading? Because however we live, that's what we spread. Live like an air conditioner, you're going to spread cold air. Live like a heater, you're going to spread hot air. Live in anger, in pain, in confusion, in jealousy, in judgment, in materialism. Well, that's what you're going to share with people around you. Energetically. We literally exude frequencies. And that's what people pick up on. But when we live as love, as consciousness, as oneness, that's what we exude. And it's not a lower purpose, it's actually a very, very high purpose. So circling back to the question, it's yes and yes. Yes, we are born to live, have a family, and die. And yes, we have a purpose.